I remember the day it all shattered like glass underfoot. That moment when the world I thought I knew crumbled around me. Imagine giving birth to your child, only for your own family, the people who raised you, who claimed to love you unconditionally, to turn on you with words sharper than any blade. You're too young, too irresponsible, they said, their voices dripping with false concern. Well, raise him instead. It's for the best, like you don't even exist. Those words echoed in my mind, a haunting refrain that ignited a fire of fear deep in my gut, mingled with the raw betrayal that made my chest ache. I clutched my newborn son closer, his tiny breaths against my skin, the only anchor in a storm of doubt and determination. But this isn't just a story of loss, it's a roller coaster of emotions, the dizzying highs of young love, the gut-wrenching lows of familial betrayal, the fierce battles I fought tooth and nail, and the triumphant victory that reshaped my entire life. Join me on this journey, and you'll feel the pulse of every heartbeat, the sting of every tear, and the unyielding strength that emerged from the ashes. By the end, you'll understand how one young woman's nightmare became her greatest empowerment. Let me take you back to where it all began, painting the picture of my life before the chaos. My name is Emily Thompson, and at 19, I was a whirlwind of dreams and youthful energy, living in a cozy 2-story house on Maple Street in suburban Ohio, the kind of place where neighbors waved hello and kids played tag in the yards until dusk. My family was the epitome of middle-class normalcy. Mom, a part-time librarian with a soft spot for romance novels and homemade apple pie. Dad, the steadfast accountant who balanced our checkbooks with the same precision he applied to family budgets. And my older sister Lisa, 25 and already climbing the corporate ladder at a marketing firm, engaged to her high school sweetheart. We weren't wealthy, but we were comfortable. Family dinners every night, board game marathons on Fridays, and annual trips to the lake house where we'd roast marshmallows and share stories under the stars. I adored them, looked up to them. Mom taught me to bake, Dad helped with my maths homework, and Lisa was my confidante, the one I'd sneak into her room to gossip about boys. But there was always this undercurrent, subtle yet persistent expectations. Don't mess up like your cousin did, they'd say lightly, referencing some distant relative's teenage mishaps. I was the baby of the family, the artistic one, sketching portraits in my notebook during class, dreaming of art school in New York or Chicago. To fund those dreams, I juggled 2 part-time jobs: a barista at the local coffee shop, where the aroma of fresh grounds mingled with the chatter of regulars, and a clerk at the bookstore downtown, surrounded by shelves of worlds waiting to be explored. Life felt full of promise, like a blank canvas ready for my brushstrokes. Then, enter Jake. He was 21, with tousled brown hair, piercing blue eyes, and a smile that could light up the dimmest room. We met at a mutual friend's bonfire party one summer evening, sparks flying as we talked about everything from favorite bands to hidden hiking trails. He worked as a mechanic at his uncle's garage, grease-stained hands hiding a gentle soul who wrote poetry in his spare time. Our relationship blossomed quickly: stolen kisses in the park, late-night drives with the windows down, blasting indie rock. We were young, invincible, lost in that intoxicating haze of first love. But invincibility is an illusion, as I learned all too soon. It was a crisp autumn night, after a romantic dinner at our favorite Italian spot, when passion overtook caution. A few weeks later, in the harsh fluorescent light of my bathroom, I stared at the pregnancy test, those 2 pink lines staring back like a verdict. My heart raced, a cocktail of terror and unexpected joy surging through me. How could this happen? I wasn't ready. I had plans, ambitions. Yet, as I placed a hand on my still flat stomach, a protective instinct bloomed. This was a life, my life intertwined with another's. I confided in Jake first, over milkshakes at the diner. His face paled, but he squeezed my hand. Well, make it work. Them. Together. His words were a lifeline, but telling my family felt like walking into a lion's den. The evening I gathered them in the living room, the air thick with the scent of Mom's pot roast cooling on the stove. My voice trembled as I announced, "I'm pregnant." Silence fell like a heavy curtain. Mom's eyes widened, filling with tears as she whispered, "Oh, Emily." "No." Dad's face hardened, his knuckles white on the armrest. "This is a mistake. You're just a kid." Lisa shook her head, muttering about ruined futures. The room erupted in questions. How? Why? What now? I explained about Jake, our commitment, but their reactions were a wall of negativity. "You're throwing away your potential." Mom sobbed. Dad lectured on responsibility, the financial burdens. Lisa, ever the pragmatist, suggested options I didn't want to hear. It hurt, their judgment slicing deep. But I stood my ground. "I'm keeping this baby. I can do this." The following months were a blur of doctor's visits, where ID listened to the heartbeat thumping like a drum, a reminder of the miracle inside. Morning sickness hit hard, waves of nausea at the coffee shop making shifts endless. I adjusted my dreams art school on hold, focusing instead on prenatal yoga classes and budgeting for baby gear. Jake was my rock, attending appointments, rubbing my feet after long days. My family helped reluctantly. Mom drove me to checkups. Dad covered some bills. Lisa bought onesies. But their support was tainted. Snide remarks about my age. "You're barely out of diapers yourself." Or questions about Jake's reliability. I ignored it, channeling energy into decorating a nursery corner in my room, with hand-painted murals of stars and moons. Reading parenting books until my eyes blurred. As my belly swelled, so did the tensions. Family dinners became battlegrounds of subtle digs. "Have you thought about adoption?" Dad asked once, fork midway to his mouth. Mom fretted over my diet, Lisa over my social life dwindling. I pushed back, asserting my choices, but doubts crept in during quiet nights. What if they are right? Am I selfish? Yet, feeling the baby kick, a tiny foot pressing against my palm, reaffirmed my resolve. Jake proposed informally, a promise ring on a park bench, vowing forever. We talked futures, him advancing at the garage, me maybe taking online classes. The community noticed 2 whispers at the grocery store, judgmental glances from old classmates. But I held my head high, attending baby showers thrown by friends, collecting hand-me-downs. Winter turned to spring, my due date approaching like a horizon. Labor started on a stormy April dawn, pains ripping through me as Jake rushed me to the hospital. 12 grueling hours later, amid sweat and screams, Alex entered the world. 7 pounds, 2 ounces, with a tuft of dark hair and eyes like Jake's. Holding him, his skin soft as petals, joy exploded in my chest. "He's perfect," I whispered, tears streaming. Jake kissed my forehead, beaming. The family arrived soon after, balloons bobbing, gifts piled high. Mom held Alex gently, cooing, "My grandson." Dad patted my back awkwardly. "Good job, kiddo." Lisa snapped photos, smiling for the first time in months. In that hospital room, bathed in soft light, it felt like harmony. Alex's cries were music, his tiny fists waving. I nursed him. That bond instant and profound. Discharged home. The first weeks were blissful exhaustion, sleepless nights soothed by his warmth, days filled with wonder at his every coup. But the disapproval, simmering like a pot about to boil over, soon resurfaced. It started innocently, Mom offering to rock Alex to sleep while I napped. Grateful at first, but then shed linger, critiquing my routines. "You're not burping him right, that's why he's fussy." Dad questioned my job choices. "How will you provide long-term?" Lisa dropped hints about better environments. I defended myself, but their words chipped away. One afternoon, returning from a quick errand, I found Mom had reorganized Alex's clothes, claiming mine was chaotic. It felt invasive, a subtle erasure. As Alex grew, rolling over at 3 months, Smiling gummy grins, their involvement deepened without invitation. They'd swoop in during my shifts, taking him for walks that lasted hours. We just want to bond, they'd say. But inside, resentment built. Jake noticed, urging me to set boundaries. But family ties tangled my resolve. The betrayal truly ignited one fateful evening, the kind where the sunset painted the sky in oranges and pinks, belying the storm inside. We sat around the dinner table, Alex in his high chair mashing peas, when Dad cleared his throat. Emily, we've been discussing this as a family. You're so young, still figuring things out. Maybe it's best if we raise Alex. My heart stopped, fork frozen in midair. Mom nodded solemnly. We can give him the stability he needs. You can go to school. Live your life. It's what's best for the baby. Lisa avoided my gaze, murmuring agreement. The room spun. Betrayal hit like a tidal wave. What? No. I stammered, voice cracking. They pressed on, talking about legal options, guardianship, adoption papers. They'd researched. Think about it rationally. Dad urged. You're not ready. Emotional manipulation poured forth, guilt about burdening them. Reminders of my immaturity, painting me as selfish for wanting to parent. Tears blurred my vision as I scooped Alex up, retreating to my room. That night, doubts assaulted me. Am I capable? What if he deserves better? But his peaceful sleep, thumb in mouth, fueled my fire. The next days were a minefield, constant undermining. Like Mom overriding my feeding schedule, or Dad buying toys I hadn't approved. They'd whisper about my mistakes, Jake's unreliability. I confronted them, arguments flaring. This is my child, consulting friends in social services, gathering evidence of my inadequacies. I felt the noose tightening, identity as a mother fracturing under pressure. The escalation built slowly at first, like storm clouds gathering, then exploded with fury. I started noticing anomalies, my important documents vanishing from drawers, Alex's birth certificate, my ID misplaced. Mom shrugged when asked. Whispers in the hallway. Phone calls hushed as I approached. One evening, eavesdropping outside the kitchen, I heard Mom on the line with a lawyer. Yes. About custody. She's unfit due to age and finances. My blood ran cold. Betrayal crystallized into action. Confronting her, she denied vehemently. Just hypothetical advice, my living arrangements, income, support system. I answered steadily, showcasing Alex's healthy checkups. But paranoia set in. Who tipped them off? My family feigned innocence, but eyes betrayed guilt. Conflicts ignited like fireworks, shouting in the living room. Me accusing. You're trying to steal him. Mom in tears. We love you both. Lisa mediating. But biased. I felt imprisoned in my childhood home. Every corner a reminder of lost safety. During a vulnerable week, me down with a severe flu. Fever spiking. Jake pulling double shifts for rent. They struck. Let us take Alex to our friend's cabin for the weekend, you rest. Mom proposed sweetly. Suspicion flared. I refused, locking us in my room as they pounded. Open up, Emily. Panic clawed at me. Alex wailing in my arms. That night, I whispered promises to him, vowing to escape this nightmare. Empowerment rose from desperation. I sought allies beyond the walls. Scrolling forums late into the night. Alex soft snores beside me. I discovered online communities, Reddit's r/youngparents, Facebook groups for single moms facing family drama. Stories mirrored mine, overbearing relatives. Custody threats. Advice flooded in. Document everything. Know your rights. A post about legal aid sparked hope. Next door. Mrs. Thompson, the retired teacher with kind eyes and a garden full of roses, noticed my pallor over the fence. Come for tea, dear, she invited, pouring out my tale amid chamomile steam. She listened without judgment, sharing her own story of youthful motherhood. "You're stronger than you know," she said, connecting me to a local support group at the community center. There, surrounded by women of all ages, sharing circles of triumphs and tears, I found solidarity. "Fight for your bond," one advised. Gathering strength, I researched relentlessly parental rights in Ohio, custody laws via library books and free online resources. I opened a hidden savings account, depositing tips discreetly, contacting a pro bono lawyer through the women's shelter. Miss Rivera, a fierce advocate with a no-nonsense bob, took my case. "We've got this," she assured. The battle commenced, filing petitions for sole custody, restraining orders against interference. Court dates loomed, nerves fraying, but preparation armored me. Logs of incidents, witness statements from Jake and Mrs. Thompson. In the sterile courtroom, truths unraveled, hidden papers presented, false reports exposed. The judge, stern yet fair, ruled in my favor, admonishing my family. Parental rights are sacred, overstep no more. Through the ordeal, growth blossomed. I enrolled in online budgeting courses, mastered meal preps on a dime, attended parenting workshops where I learned techniques for tantrums and milestones. Alex's first words, "Mama," echoed as validation. Doubts dissolved, I emerged resilient. Budgeting spreadsheets my new canvas, determination my brush. Resolution dawned gradually, a sunrise after endless night. With court backing, I packed our essentials, Alex's favorite blanket, my sketches into Jake's truck. We moved to a modest one-bedroom apartment across town, walls echoing with our laughter as we unpacked. Rent was tight, but freedom tasted sweet. Jake and I tag-teamed me days at an expanded coffee shop roll, him nights at the garage. Alex adapted, toddling around our space, stacking blocks into towers of possibility. The family rift deepened, initially Dad's silence like a void, Mom's pleading voicemails unanswered at first. Lisa reached out tentatively, a coffee meet where apologies flowed. "We were wronged," she admitted. Reconciliation came on my terms, supervised visits. No criticisms. Some relatives distanced, others respected boundaries. Holiday cards arriving with cautious warmth. Reflecting now, as Alex, now 3, builds forts in our living room, I see the transformation. They called me too young, too reckless, but my son forged me stronger in spirit, wiser in choices, determined beyond measure. I didn't merely raise him through the betrayal and battles. I raised myself into the woman I was meant to be. And in his eyes, I see our victory, bright and unbreakable.